Hey everybody, Jesse Schell here. Hope you're having a great ToonFest. Let's see. So I promised that I would answer questions if you send them in, and we had a lot of people sending questions, hundreds and hundreds of questions. But we've narrowed it down to 10 questions that we're going to try and answer here today. So I am going to jump right in. So, question number 1. This is from Princess Melody. Since its creation 13 years ago, what would you say has surprised you most about Toontown and its impact? I think the thing that surprised me most was the fact that people cared so much about Toontown that even after it was officially shut down by Disney, fans cared enough to actually bring it back to life, run it and operate it, support it, care about it, and keep playing it. The fact that people cared about it that much is just, it's absolutely thrilling, but it really did surprise me. It wasn't something that I thought was going to happen, and it's wonderful to have been involved helping make something where people cared about it that much. Okay, second question from Little Candy McNerd. How did you come up with the cogs names and features? So this is really interesting. So you probably might have heard me talk before about the history of the cogs. Initially, it wasn't just cogs. Initially, there were going to be all kinds of evil adults, evil dentists, and evil gym teachers, and things like that. But we narrowed it down just into kind of evil business people, and then they eventually turned into business robots. And the way we came up with our identities is we went through a brainstorming process where we just sort of thought of funny things that happened in offices, because there's a lot of insults from offices, things like micromanager and headhunter. We just made big lists of all the business words we could think of, and then we started coming up with funny ways that were like, okay, so what would it mean for there to be like a headhunter cog, and what would it mean, for there to be a micromanager cog, and just try to come up with different ideas for it. We probably had twice as many ideas for cogs as we actually used. And a lot of them were just not very good. And people will say, well, what were they? I'm like, I don't remember, because they just weren't very good. But we narrowed it down to the ones we really liked. But now the question of where did the look of the cogs come from, and who decided what they looked like, that was very much led by animator Bruce Woodside, who had strong visions for ways we could make a very efficient system that would give us a whole lot of cogs by mixing up their heads and hands and sizes and shapes. And he was really great at coming up with the drawings of the cogs. All right, so question 3. This is from Captain Rockin' What was your initial reaction when you saw the rumor of Toontown Rewritten become a reality after Toontown Online had closed? So, wow, that's a great question. When I first heard the rumor that, hey, maybe Toontown Rewritten was really going to be a thing, I thought, okay, yeah, good luck, everybody. That's going to be so hard to do. I mean, I love the idea of it, but first, probably Disney's going to show up with a bunch of lawyers and shut you down, and then secondly, it's just going to be so technically difficult. I don't think it's really going to work, and I wasn't sure the people working on it would be persistent enough to make it work. And boy, was I totally wrong. Disney's been very gracious at kind of giving Toontown Rewritten space to exist, and the team has been incredibly skilled and incredibly persistent at gradually getting more and more Toontown features online. So my initial reaction was, good luck, that's never going to happen, and I am pleased to say that I was really wrong about that. Okay, question number 4. Why did you decide to name your toon Jaymo? And that's right, so you might have seen, if you've ever seen a red rabbit running around named Jaymo, that very well could be me. That was the toon that I created while we were still making Toontown. I used it in test, and I used it all the way up till the end of Toontown, and of course I brought Jaymo over to Toontown Rewritten as well. So where does that name come from? Back in the 80s, I did a lot of computer hacking, like, finding ways to kind of sneak into this computer and that computer, because I was a dumb kid doing dumb things. And hackers all had nicknames, and my nickname was J Mobius, because I liked Mobius strips, I liked higher mathematics, and so I just picked the name J Mobius, which got shortened to Jaymo, and Jaymo is just a name that I've used quite a lot, and so it was the name of my toon. So there you go, it was my old hacker nickname. Okay, question 5 from Pickle Flapper. What was the reasoning behind choosing a turn-based combat system for Toontown? Man, this is a great question. This is something that was a huge debate with us, trying to decide how should we make the combat system work in Toontown. A lot of people wanted a very active system, so the decision happened it had a few different levels. One was, I was very worried about latency, being able to program a system that could handle fast action. I wasn't sure we could do it. I felt more confident we'd be able to code up a turn-based system that could deal with the slow latency that we had back when Toontown opened. And also, we were looking to make a game that would work for all ages and that would work for boys and work for girls. And we'd observed that sometimes with online games, some people, girls especially, were often put off by high-pressure, real-time arena combat type games. And so contrast that to the kind of battle you have in Pokemon or Final Fantasy, which is very turn-based, where people have time to think. And we liked having a system that kind of gave people time to think while they were fighting. So we liked that this was more open to everybody. People who were into battle could get into it, but people who were a little intimidated by battle could kind of take their time. So we liked that a lot. We also liked the fact that it left space for people to talk while they were while they were in battle. So it made it more social. So there were a lot of reasons that we did it. It proved to be way more difficult than we thought. We thought it was going to be easier than an action system, and it turns out it may have actually been harder. And it's interesting, you listen to the Wizard 101 guys talk about it, and they talk about the reason they chose a turn-based combat system was they saw how well it worked in Toontown, and so they followed that lead. Okay, question number 6 from Little Tom Jabbermonkey. What's the silliest conversation you had with someone while developing Toontown Online? Okay, so I think I know that one of the conversation that seemed kind of silly to me. So once we'd opened it for kind of beta testing and we let people in, one thing that we as developers had was the power to listen in on all conversations, even private conversations that worked through the secret friend system. And so I had that debug bit turned on so I could hear private conversations, and I had joined these two toons who were friends. I joined them for a battle, in a building, and I thought I was doing pretty well, and I thought I was being really helpful, and I was pretty psyched about this battle we were doing, and I was just not really thinking about it, just going through the battle. And then these two guys started to have their conversation about, man, because it's just a free text type, they can type anything. Man, this guy stinks. And the other guy says, yeah, I know, I don't think he knows anything about this game. Which I thought was, I'm like, hey, I made this combat system, but, people have their opinions. Anyway, that was kind of funny. Let's see, number 7, good old Corky Weasel Snooker. What happened to Toontown 2.0? How far did these ideas get before being ultimately canceled? Now, I did not work on Toontown 2.0, but I've talked to people who have, and I'll tell you my understanding of what happened with Toontown 2.0. Toontown 2.0 was initially an exploration into what would it look like if Toontown was brought into Unity, because the thought was if we could port Toontown over to Unity. This was back when Unity was well supported in browsers, and it no longer is. But if we could bring Toontown into Unity, then it could both go into mobile and it could also be in browsers, and that could be a really good idea. So my understanding is Toontown 2.0 didn't go very far. I don't even think it was networked, actually, or if it was very simple. It was really about a character running around in a Unity model to sort of see what this would look like. It was very simple, more of a bare bones technical proof of concept than anything like an actual implementation. And so my understanding is while there was big talk about it and a prototype that looked kind of cool, it was far away from a functioning prototype. There would a lot of work would have to be done to carry it the rest of the way, unfortunately. Okay, number 8 from Crazy Leroy. Without going too far into details, don't worry. What are some of the things you would want to do if you had the power to bring Toontown back, whether in its original form or as a sequel? Oh man, well, if I could do anything, boy, there's a lot of stuff that I'd want to do. First of all, in this modern world, I would love to take Toontown into the mobile realm so that people could play it on their phones, they could play it on iPads, they can play it on tablets, as well as being able to play it on PC and Mac. And of course, it'd be nice to bring it over to console too. It'd be nice to bring it everywhere. Secondly, I think really important, any new version of Toontown would need to support the old tunes. The tune database is still there. Disney has it all kind of locked up in the vault, and it would be great to be able to get a new version of Toontown going and for people to bring back their old tunes and have them be part of the new game. And I think the most important thing for any version of Toontown going forward would be giving as much power as possible to the players to be able to decide what features go in, what content comes out, and even to the extent of what can we do to allow players to create content and put that in the game. Those would be the things I would really want to see. I don't know exactly how it would all work, but I feel like all those things are what the future of Toontown will really want to have ideally. Okay, question number 9. Do you still talk to Disney about making a new Toontown? And the answer is yes, I do. Now you gotta understand, like making like Toontown as a ongoing business with professionals working on it on a daily basis and having it be a profitable enterprise, it's a tricky business. At the time that Disney shut it down, like there were still a lot of people playing. We know this, but the thing is, running one of these games for real, it costs some money, particularly if you're continuing to add features, continuing to keep the hackers out. There's a lot of work to do. And unfortunately, subscription-based games have fallen out of fashion in favor of free-to-play games, and Toontown's not well set up to be a free-to-play game. So we're all trying to figure out what is the right business model. Personally, I feel like subscription is the right way to do Toontown. That's the best way to serve a community where you have you have a smaller number of people, like not millions of people like World of Warcraft has. Toontown has a smaller number of people who really care about it. I think enough of them are going to be willing to pay subscriptions. I think it's possible to bring it back and do it that way. Anyway, I know that Disney wants to see it come back someday. That's partly why I suspect they haven't given Toontown Rewritten such a hard time. They want to see it come back. I want to see it come back. Lots of people want to see it come back. Conversations are still going. As soon as we can get to the point that we figure out something that makes sense, where all the financials line up, maybe it can happen. I mean, so. Thanks, computer. Okay, I don't know. Maybe Joey will edit that out. Maybe he'll leave it in. I don't know what that was. Anyway, long story short, yes, conversations are still going on. We're all trying to figure it out. Lots of people want to make it happen one day, but will we be able to make it happen? When there's something to tell, we'll tell you all about it. Okay, and then final question number 10. Mr. Greenbean asks, what makes you still stay connected to the Toontown community even though the game shut down? Most game developers would just give up on a game after it closed down. Okay, why do I still stay in touch with the Toontown community? And the answer is very simple. You guys are awesome. Toontown is something that means an awful lot to me. It meant a lot to me while we were making it, and when we were making it, the vision wasn't, oh, we'll have a game and maybe it'll run 5 or 10 years and wouldn't that be great? No, the vision is we're going to make this place and it's going to run forever. We want it to run for hundreds of years. We really felt like there was something powerful enough here that it could have a long, long life. And I feel like the fact that you guys still care and are still playing the game and are still involved with it, even though Disney kind of made a decision to shut it down, that just tells me that, yeah, there is something powerful there. And so why do I stay in touch with you guys and why do I talk to you guys? Because you care about this. Because Toontown isn't just a game. I think Toontown is something important. Toontown is a place where people can come together and have fun and celebrate play being more important than work, and come together and collaborate and just celebrate what it is to kind of be a cartoon character and have fun. Anyway, well, I hope you like these the answers to these questions. Stay in touch and have a great time at ToonFest.